Well, well, well. God does not like ugly. God does not like ugly. You know, the first time I saw this so-called bishop, pastor, preacher, I could see the fraud from about a million miles away. I don't know how his parishioners, the people that go to his church, his congregation, his meetings, and throw money at him for tithes and offerings, I don't know how they cannot see it. Let's get into the story because the flashy pastor has now been found guilty and looks like he is heading to prison. According to New York News, a Brooklyn preacher known for his flashy lifestyle, you might have known him as Bishop Lamar Whitehead, pretty controversial kind of guy. His congregation was robbed recently, but we'll talk about that in a minute when it was robbed on camera. This preacher, with his flashy lifestyle, him and his flashy lifestyle will soon have to part ways. You know, he used to boast a lot about how he got connections all over the city, and he is close with Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. Well, he was found guilty in a federal court on Monday, and he was found guilty of wire fraud, attempted extortion, and lying to the FBI. Lamar Whitehead, 47 years old, found guilty of 5 counts after a trial in a federal court in Manhattan that began last month. Now, prosecutors had argued that this preacher man exaggerated his ties to Mayor Eric Adams. He was lying to people, using that as leverage to get them to believe him, to become more credible to them so he could swindle them out of their money. Yeah, because you know it's all about connections. So if somebody is like, yeah, I'm a very good friend of the mayor, you know, I have connections and pulls all over the city. I can do something for your business if you do something for me, kind of thing. Prosecutors had argued that the preacher exaggerated his ties with Mayor Adams, and greed is what led him to start dipping in one of his parishioners' retirement savings fund. He didn't care if this lady was up in age. He didn't care if it was her retirement fund and this is the money she got to fall back on in her old days. He got to the money. It was $90,000. But hold on. Wait till you hear how he got her money and what he did with it. They also got him for attempting to extort a businessman so he could continue to fuel his flashy lifestyle. Because brother man liked to drive around in, you know, very expensive cars, a Bentley and all that, Rolls Royce and all that. Now, his attorney said that they will be appealing the verdict. His attorney, who's Dawn Florio, she also told the jurors during the trial that the evidence against her client did not support these charges. Well, he made headlines in July when an armed bandit crashed his church service and robbed him of what he said was $1 million worth of jewelry. At the time when I saw it all go down, the first thing came to my mind was that's another scam. That's a insurance scam. It's easy. You know, you buy $1 million worth of jewelry and you take out insurance on $1 million worth of jewelry, or you buy some jewelry and take out $1 million insurance policy on the jewelry, and then you set up a robbery, make it look like as real as possible on video during your church service. People could not even guess. Why would anybody guess that a pastor was a part of that, right? And the robbers came in, they took the jewelry, and they left. Then you go to the insurance company and you show them the tape, you know. Hey, man, I got robbed while I was up there preaching. that insurance money got to kick in. Boom. You got your money and you got the expensive jewelry. I don't know. That's just my take on it. I've never seen a pastor so flamboyant, in his Fendi and his Prada and his Versace, and his Louis Vuittons. And he wasn't afraid to show it off and let you know that that's how he's living. He embraced his flashy lifestyle. He was known for riding around New York City in a Rolls Royce, man. And according to the investigations going into this case, records show that he also lives in a $1.6 million house. Nowhere in the city. He is way out in the sticks in Paramus, New Jersey. He also owns an apartment building in Hartford, Connecticut. So when he is swindling people and telling them, listen, I got this real estate deal. You could be a part of it. Give me that $90,000. I'll flip it for you. They believe him because he is friends with Mayor Eric Adams. He presented himself at opportune times, made sure a picture was taken of him with the mayor, and then he circulated that picture like, yeah, this me and my homie hanging out right here. Anyhow, prosecutor says that what he did was he jilted a parishioner out of $90,000, her whole retirement fund, by falsely promising her that he would find her a different home and that he would invest the rest of the money into his real estate business, and then she would get a huge profit on whatever monies were invested into his real estate business. Turns out that woman went homeless. There wasn't any money for him to give her back as interest. She didn't get back even her money. Prosecutors said that instead of him doing what he told the lady that he was going to do with the money, he didn't find her a home. He didn't invest it in anything. He actually spent the money on luxury clothing and taking care of his Bentley and all that. Yeah. Now, they also got him for trying to con a businessman. He told a businessman, listen, you got the money, put up $500,000, right? And give me a stake in your real estate deals. And what I'll do for you is I'll optimize your company. I'll make sure that your company makes it to the top. Check it. I'm good friends with the mayor, and I have a lot of pull around the city. I can make things happen for you. You know what this guy reminds me of? He reminds me of the first time I visited New York, and I got caught. I got swindled, hoodwinked, bamboozled, tricked. Felt like a fool, too, because a guy walked up to me, and he had these gold bracelets on his hand, on his wrist, and he had a long trench coat on. And he opened the trench coat, and inside of the trench coat were many more bracelets and watches and whatnot. So he gave me one of the bracelets, and he was like, look at it, man, solid gold. Chip it. You could scratch it. Solid gold. I'll give you this for that. And they talk really fast. I think I paid like $50. I thought I was getting a $500 bracelet for $50. And I walked away with it on my arm, on my hand. And in less than 24 hours, there was a big old green mark around my wrist. And then the bracelet rapidly started to change color. That's what this guy reminds me of. So he almost got this $500,000 from this businessman, but they caught him before he got it. He had no business dealings. He had no plans to use that man's money wisely like he told him he was going to use it. And he has no pull in the city to do anything for this man's company. Mayor Adams said that he grew close to Whitehead while he was serving as Brooklyn's borough president. Mayor Adams is a former police captain, and he has since said, when asked about his relationship with this flashy pastor, he said, listen, I spent decades enforcing the law out in these streets, and I expect everyone who is associated with me or who know me or who I came across in my travels to do the same, uphold the law. You know, it's funny. I believe it's Dino Jenkins, a pastor, that said, if your pastor does not have a job, a 9 to 5, a business, something where he earns income outside of just preaching to you, then you don't have a pastor at your church. You have a con artist. Because there's nothing in the Word of God and there's nothing anywhere that says pastors are supposed to come preach to the church, collect tithes and offerings, and then use that tithes and offerings to buy a Bentley, Mercedes-Benz, Cadillac truck, $1 million home, private jets, tailor-made suits, Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Versace. There's nothing that says that. So again, if you have a pastor in your church that's preaching to the congregation and that's his only source of income, you have a con artist, not a pastor. I wish more people would realize that. Because in the black community, man, that's exactly what it seems like. Most of the pastors in the black community seems like they are charlatans. Seems like they are super con artists. Their goal is to keep the people blind and keep them coming back so they keep on bringing that money to them. I don't know if you ever been to church and you seen a church sister say, man, I'm doing really bad right now. Like, I can't even afford to pay my light bill. They done cut the light off at the house. What I'm going to do, pastor? What am I going to do? And that wicked ass pastor will look at that church sister and say, well, God's been blessing you, but you haven't been returning the favor. You haven't been sowing your seeds properly. You know, your tithes and offering ain't coming in like it's supposed to. You know, you sow your tithes and offerings properly, you'll get your blessings back tenfold. Now, this woman can't even afford to keep the light on at her house. And he is about to dig into her pocketbook and tell her she needs to give accordingly so that God can bless her more. And what do? I've been to church. I've seen it. They actually give more and go home crying. And then the pastor would tell them, you got to pray, sister. You got to pray harder. Never cease to pray. I'm like, this mother, you know what, right here. A real con artist. And again, that's what Whitehead reminds me of. His sentencing is scheduled for July 1st. Let's see what he gets. Let's see if they sentence him to probation and he got to pay this woman her money back, or he is actually going to go to prison. He also got, one of his charges was for lying to the FBI. He had another phone which he was using to do other business, and the FBI, I guess through questioning, when they're trying to figure things out, asked him, hey, do you have another phone? And he said, nope, only got one phone. Turns out he has another phone with a lot more other information on that phone, which they were able to find, by the way. So we'll see how this goes, right? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. Tell me if you think that he is a con artist, or are you one of those people who feel like, nah, God wanted him to be rich. He is just doing the Lord's work and he is getting blessed for it. Why are they bothering him? They always bother young black men when they see them making a lot of money. Where are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on preachers, period, pastors? I'll catch you on the next video. You already know it's Hot Topics TV, BrainFLoTv, and if the topic is hot, we're on it. I'm out. Peace.